in South Windsor, if I'm correct, when you were mayor, you passed a similar ban. What were the effects like that in the town?
So clearly the important thing is it started from a number of towns, and I'm proud to the fact that I was serving as a mayor, and most of the people in the town council came together and supported banning cigarettes for anybody less than the age of 21, and also vaping products. So we were very successful in that. I think there was some opposition, but at the same time it was a process of educating people, and as we were able to educate people, that allowed them to make right choices, and they voted in favor, and I'm hoping the state of Connecticut would do the same as well. I think this would importantly would save lives, and would reduce the cost of healthcare, because the impact of tobacco on the cigarettes has been so much on the young people and older people that we will be saving a lot of money if this happens. Now, individual businesses who are actually using all of their effort to sell tobacco, they will lose a little bit of business, but this is not how you make money, by hurting other people. So I hope they would actually look at other options for their businesses. So I know that this is a situation where we have a legal age, but there is a brain age. We know from data, and the scientific data is very sound on this, that the addiction potential is far higher as the individual is younger. For any chemical that they are going to be introduced to, the risk of their addiction and long-term implications are far more when you are much younger. So this reduces that risk significantly. So while there's a legal age to it, but there's a scientific and medical perspective that it truly suggests that this is important to try and prevent and protect people.
So as a Republican, how do you sort of square preventing legal adults from purchasing tobacco with personal responsibility, bodily autonomy, and sort of those sort of arguments that the Republican Party typically trumpets?
Well, I consider myself a independent thinker, and for me, being one of the chairs and leadership of public health, this is a public health crisis. We see the results. We will have close to 56,000 people die of issues related to smoking in the state of Connecticut this year, especially if they start as a teenager. It contributes to being the #1 killer in the United States and in Connecticut, which is heart disease. And I think we have a duty as government to set regulations such that people can make informed decisions and make the right decisions when we know that smoking, just like alcohol, is something that is detrimental to your body. You see the effects with one puff of a cigarette, what it does to your arteries, and how they don't constrict and open up like they should with just one puff of a cigarette. I think that we owe this to our future generation to raise the age limit to 21 like we have for other items such as alcohol, to make sure we send the message that smoking is not safe, and it is something that requires some significant thought if you decide you want to partake in smoking. And when we raise the age, we also make it more difficult for those who are younger to try something like smoking. And the studies have proven that the younger you are, the easier it is for you to become addicted to the nicotine within the cigarettes. And now with vaping, you can vape sometimes up to 169 times the nicotine level in a cigarette. So everyone that I've spoken to who is suffering from heart disease, they're smokers, and they wish they never started, and they all started as teenagers. So I think this is a great bill. I think it is bipartisan. I don't think it has anything to do with the party that you're in, whether you support this or not. It's a public health issue and an epidemic in the United States, and I am proud to be a sponsor and supporter of this bill.
I think that what the research shows is that young people, probably under 21, have a higher likelihood of not being able to make a truly informed decision about using nicotine, but also have a higher risk of becoming addicted to nicotine. Our role is not to take decision making away from people. It's to really try and inform and educate. And it's also to try and decrease access to youth who are more susceptible, and potentially their addiction to e-cigarettes or nicotine in general could lead to a greater use of nicotine products, including regular cigarettes. So I think it really relates to the adolescent brain being more susceptible to addiction, and youth being more susceptible to advertising by big tobacco. It'll have some impact. I can't tell you for sure how much, but I think if we're serious about banning sales to people under 21, the lifeline that younger kids have from 18-year-olds will likely get cut off or substantially decreased. And I think that will result in decreased youth use. But it's also the notion of a teachable moment, and that is that high schoolers are smart kids, and they understand what might or might not be good for them. And up till now, they've gotten a message that e-cigarettes are probably safe because people are using them to get off of regular cigarette use, and they're cool, and they don't seem to cause cancer. We don't really know yet what the long-term effects are, and so they're probably okay. And the teachable moment is, if the state of Connecticut is serious enough about banning sales to people under 21, and all of the volunteers are out here trying to get that message across to our legislators and to cities and towns and to school districts and everyone else, there's a good reason for it, and that is that those products really are harmful and can cause a lifetime of addiction and disease and premature death. And that teachable moment is, there must be a good reason for this. Maybe I should give second thought to starting that e-cigarette use.
What grade are you in?
6th.
6th grade. And so, I think people have sort of heard about, a lot of people, like older folks, like read in the paper about e-cigarettes and Juul and all that. What, from your perspective, what is it like in middle school now? I mean, do you see other kids doing it? Do you hear stories? What's that like?
I don't really see anybody doing it because I'm like in 6th grade, but like I hear stories about it, and like our principals come in and talk to us about how it's bad, and all around the school we have these posters that say that we can't, it's not good to do Juul and you'll get hooked and all that. So a couple people, like, they're not, I've like only met them a couple times, but not really. But yeah.
So none of your like close friends?
No.
So is it popular on like social media and stuff?
Yeah, like people on Snapchat will like put on their stories like them doing it and how it looks cool, and then also like on Twitter or maybe Instagram. So it makes them look like they're cool, and that they're, I guess, just cool.
What are the cool social media apps and stuff?
Snapchat, Twitter, sometimes Visco.
What is it?
Maybe
Visco?
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't know that much about it, but Instagram. Yeah, those are like the only ones I really know.
What brings you out today to support this bill?
Well, I'm a 10-year breast cancer survivor, and I know how scary those words can be, you have cancer. I also have 2 sons who are in their 30s now, who both started smoking in junior high. They were given the cigarettes by siblings of their classmates, and they're trying real hard to quit. One of them in particular has been on Chantix for months and just can't seem to quit. And this is one of the most preventable diseases there is. We know that 95% of people that start smoking before they're 21. We can erase our death rate by about 10% if we can get this age raised. So that's my main thing is, as a cancer survivor, I'll do anything I can to keep other people from hearing those words, you have cancer. Yeah, I think among the group of 15 to 17-year-olds, because right now they can get them from 18-year-old high school seniors, a guy's not going to come back from college and get cigarettes for junior high kids and high school kids. So I think it will. There's a cost factor, but we spend over $2 billion a year treating tobacco-related illnesses. So in the long run, it's going to pay. I don't think if it's monitored strictly enough. They're already clamping down in some of the towns on selling to underage kids. So I don't think so. And I think people are recognizing that it's a more serious problem. I mean, you have the problems with alcohol with cirrhosis if you drink long enough, but cigarettes almost always take a life in the end. I mean, it really is an epidemic.